Namaste and welcome everyone to 30 minutes to wheel pose, also known as Urdhva Dhanurasana. Wheel pose is a deep back bend that requires flexibility with most of the muscles on our front body and strength on most of the muscles on our back body. And it's really important when going into deep back bends to have a fully warmed body. You don't want to go into it just waking up in the morning, popping up into wheel pose. It's not going to be good for your back. So we have the morning sun. It's a wonderful time to open up the heart. Because we want our body to be so warm, I wanted to start with some traditional sun salutations, which might be a little bit different than the sun salutations that you are used to. But to begin, let's find ourselves standing at the top of our mats. And we'll do the first sun sal slowly, and then we'll do the whole sun sal with every movement being a breath. So to start with, just find yourself standing at the top of your mat and take a few moments to simply breathe. If you want to become present, it's super easy. Just feel. Feel the ground underneath of you. Feel your breath. Feel the air across your skin. Feel the sun on your face. In our first movement, we'll shoot our arms up towards the sky. And to start with, you might be perfectly vertical in your arms, or you might reach a little bit back. And if you do reach back, keep the core engaged to protect your low back. And then from here, reach forward, 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 all the way into your forward fold. From here, take the right foot to the back of your mat and let your right knee drop. Uncurl the right toes and lift the heart as you sink into the hips. From here, we'll step back to a plank pose. And rather than chaturanga, today we'll do knees, chest, chin. So drop your knees to the mat and then keep your tailbone high. You might even tilt the tailbone like you do in cow pose in order to drop the chest and chin down to the mat. So this will bring us more fluidity in our spine. From here, we slide forward to Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. And if you slid forward in the right way, your elbows should be about over your wrists. And we're not going deep into a Cobra just yet, just to keep it a nice low Cobra for now. From here, press up to tabletop, tuck your toes, and downward facing dog. From here, look forward and bring your right foot forward between your hands. Drop your back knee, uncurl your back toes, and lift your heart. From here, step forward into your forward fold. Keep the core engaged as you reach the arms forward and up, and return your hands to your heart. That was half of a sun sal. Now we'll do left leg back, left leg forward. From here, shoot the arms up and reach forward, forward fold. Left leg to the back of your mat this time. Left knee drops, right knee comes over your ankle, tent your fingers. So the reason we're doing this sun sal is to really get into what's known as hip extension, or basically your leg behind your hip. So hopefully you feel a nice stretch in your left thigh, and we'll deepen that stretch today. From here, step back to plank pose. And again, knees to the mat, tailbone stays high, chest and chin find the ground. From here, slide forward to a little baby cobra, and then downward facing dog. Left foot comes between your hands this time. Drop your right knee, uncurl the right toes. Again, sink the hips. See if you could feel your right thigh beginning to open. From here, step forward into forward fold. Keep the core engaged. Reach your arms forward and up. And hands to heart. Next, to warm up the body, we'll do that entire flow, every breath a movement, every movement a breath. If I go too fast or too slow, feel free to go your own pace. On your next inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, right leg back, knee drops, heart lifts. Retain your breath for plank pose. And then exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left knee drops. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Other side, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back, knee drops. Retain your breath, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot between your hands, right knee drops as you inhale. And exhale, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, arms forward and up. And exhale, hands to heart. So hopefully, body is starting to feel a little warm. Also starting to feel some greater mobility in the hips and the back. We'll continue to explore a little bit more hip extension and also get into the side bodies. So just as we started, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. And take your right foot to the back of your mat. Let your right knee drop. This time, take both hands to your left thigh. And see if you could really get in to your hip flexors, your psoas muscles as you sink further down. And press yourself forward, almost like you want your tailbone to touch your front heel. From here, take your hands to the mat and drop your hips back. Half split here. See if you could feel your right thigh begin to release. And then let's find the quad stretch by coming forward, planting your right hand, and your left arm will reach back. And then see if you could bend your back leg and find the back foot. And if you can't, that's okay too. It can become more of an active flexibility exercise. If you do find the back foot, you can look over your left shoulder. From here, looking down, hands to the top of your mat, step forward into your forward fold. And let's do the other side. Left leg to the back of your mat, left knee drops, both hands to your right thigh, and press yourself forward. See if you could really sink into those hips. Hip extension is so important for the body because it does the normal position that we're usually sitting in, which is something like a chair pose. We're sitting in chair all the time. Our hips are usually in flexion. So you really need to open up the psoas, open up those hip flexors. From here, hands to the top of your mat. Step back into half Hanuman. Feel your psoas release. And the quad stretch, coming forward, planting your left hand, right arm reaches back. See if you can grab your back foot. If not, that's also okay. If you can find the foot, look over your right shoulder. And releasing your back foot, both hands to the top of your mat and step forward into your forward fold. And on your next inhale, reach the arms forward and up. And on your exhale, hands to your heart. So low lunge, quad stretch. It's very good for your anterior thigh. Next, we're going to move in a little bit more into the torso. And we'll do that with some side bends. So inhale, arms come up. Take your right hand, grab your left wrist, turn your left palm up. And on your exhale, lean to your right. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale back to center. Left grabs the right. Right palm comes up. And lean to the left for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale back to center. Arms come up. And on your exhale, reach forward all the way into your forward fold. From here, right leg to the back of your mat and right knee finds the mat like we've explored. But this time, we'll reach the arms forward and up for a nice low lunge. From here, take your left hand to your left hip crease and lean to your left. And see if you could feel that thigh stretch reach all the way through your body, all the way out through your right fingertips. From here, inhale back to center, both arms up, and we'll go the opposite direction. So looking down, let your right hand find the mat or the ground, and your left arm will come up and over. And coming back to center, both arms come back up, high to the sky. On your exhale, hands to the mat, step forward into forward fold. And let's do the other side. Left leg to the back of your mat, left knee drops. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, right hand to your hip crease, leaning to the right. Now your right hand might find your block or the ground if that works for you, but you can also keep it on the hip crease. And opposite side, looking down to the left, left hand finds the mat, right arm reaches up and over. And wherever you are, inhale back to center. And exhale, hands to the mat. Step forward into your forward fold. Engage your core. Inhale, arms forward and up. And exhale, hands to your heart. All right. So let's get more into the spine, more into the upper body with high lunges and some upward facing dogs. So like we've done before, inhale, arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a half lift this time. And on your exhale, fold forward, take your hands to the mat and jump or step back to a plank pose. And we'll do upward facing dog by lowering down halfway. Flip your feet and lift the heart up as you keep your tailbone low for upward facing dog. For a lot of folks, this is a transition pose. They hold only for half a breath, but let's stay in here for a few breaths. See if you can engage your legs to protect your low back as you lower the tailbone, and be sure to get those shoulders away from the ears as much as you can. So almost like you want the shoulder blades to kiss each other behind your upper back. See if you could draw the shoulders down, back, and away. And then hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Okay. From here, take your right leg high to the sky. This time, bend your right leg and roll your right hip open. And this will help you get, once again, into the hip flexors. From here, inhale, straighten the right leg. And exhale, swing the right foot forward, plant it between your hands, and inhale, arms forward and up for a high lunge. This time, I really want us to get into the psoas by taking our hands to our hips. First, lower your hips, and then scoop your hips. So like if you had a bowl of water and you want to spill the water towards you, let your thumbs draw your back of your hips down and have your hip points draw forward. From here, keep the core engaged. And then take your arms up and we'll add one more side bend. Right hand grabs your left wrist, turn the left palm up, and then lean to the right. From here, inhale back to center. On your exhale, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower halfway down, flip your feet, inhale to upward dog, and let's continue to hold upward dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. Left leg high to the sky.
Bend your left leg, roll your left hip open. Continue to reach your knee as high as you can to the sky as you point your left toes at your right shoulder blade. From here, inhale, straighten your left leg. And exhale, straighten the left foot forward, plant it between your hands. Inhale, arms forward and up. High lunge. Same as before, exhale, take your hands to your hips, lower your hips, scoop the hips, keep the core engaged, take the arms up. Left hand grabs your right wrist, turn your right palm up, and lean to the left. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank pose. One more. Chaturanga to upward dog. Holding upward dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hips to the sky. Downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in your downward dog. From downward dog, inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Step, jump, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Great. All right, now it's time to get a little bit more into the shoulders and also to strengthen our back with some prone poses. So inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to plank pose. But then simply drop onto your knees. So to really get into our shoulders, we got to do a melting heart pose, one of my favorite poses. So walk your hands out in front of you and start to lower the heart and head to the mat. Maybe you float, maybe you drop just the head so the forehead finds the mat. Maybe you actually look past your hands. Just hold here, a few more breaths. This is such an important heart opener to help all of your back bends, particularly any back bend where your arms are over your head. From here, lift the head up, walk the hands back, and come into a cat pose, rounding the spine to undo the back bend that you just did. And return to a neutral spine. And we'll do a very similar stretch, but this time with our blocks. Now the emphasis here is on the shoulders and not necessarily the spinal extension. So we don't want to open up the heart too much in this. You can also use a wall for very much the same effect. But return to your tabletop, take your blocks at the highest setting, and take your palms to the blocks, and then lower the heart, but then get into the shoulders. So notice my back mostly stays flat, and I just begin to lower the heart in order to get deep into that shoulder flexion. And hold here for 5 deep breaths. And slowly come up. Walk the hands back underneath of you, around the spine into another cat pose, undoing that pose you just did. And return to a neutral spine. From here, you can set your blocks aside. Step back to a plank pose and lower down to your belly. And next we'll do a Sphinx pose. So take your elbows underneath your shoulders. So for a lot of people, Sphinx pose is already pretty challenging. So you can make the back bend easier by sliding your elbows away from you. So if it already feels intimidating and you feel a lot of crunching in your low back, simply ease out of the pose. Now, elbows under the shoulders is not enough for some people. They want to go deeper. In that case, you can always take a bolster or a folded up blanket or even your blocks underneath of your elbows, and it will bring you into a deeper back bend. Notice I'm trying to keep my hip points on the mat. I'm not lifting up through here. You want to keep the belly low in order to deepen the back bend. This is a really lovely yin posture too. You can hold this pose 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 10 minutes in this pose in order to really allow the spine to go deeper into what we call extension, which is what every back bend is. All right. And slowly coming out of the pose. And let's release the back. You can take your hands out in front of you, bend the knees, and then kind of windshield wipe your legs to the left and to the right. And next back bend will be a half bow pose. So to come to a half bow, we return to our Sphinx pose, but this time our left hand comes over to our right elbow. We reach the right arm behind, we find the foot. Once you find the foot, then you kick into the hand. So if this is your first time doing this pose, I recommend keeping your forearm where it is. If you're a little bit more experienced, you can take your left arm out and actually lift yourself up into a deeper back bend. And still, if you want more of a challenge, you can actually turn it into kind of like a half dancer's half bow with your left arm forward and your left leg off of the ground. Wherever you are is exactly where you are supposed to be. And hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And switching. Left forearm finds the mat if it's not there already. Right forearm switches. Left hand reaches behind, grabbing the foot of the ankle, kicking into the hand. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, right arm out, straightening the arm. Option 3, right leg, right arm off of the ground. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Forearms come out in front, we bend the legs, and windshield wiper the legs. And we'll do one more back body strengthening exercise, and we'll do what we call swimmers. So some of you might have done this before. We take our arms out in front of us. We lift opposite arm, opposite leg, so right leg comes off the ground, left arm comes off the ground. And then we switch, right arm, left leg, and switch, and switch, and switch. Let's do 10 of these, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let's do both arms, both legs, holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7. You got this. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and child's pose. And really use this pose to release the low back, to sink the hips back as you stretch your arms forward, undoing all those back bends that we just did.
And let's do one more heart opener before we go for our wheel. So come up to a kneeling position. And then from here, take your palms out in front of you around the spine. Bring the chin to your chest. And then do the exact opposite. So open your arms out wide like wings and reach the hands back like you want the backs of the hands to touch behind your back. And let's do that 5 times with the breath. Exhale, rounding the spine, palms together. And inhale, we open. Exhale, we close. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we close. Number 4. And number 5, let's stay open. And reach back, open the heart for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, so we'll close out our class with one final attempt at our wheel pose. If you don't have wheel pose today, that's totally okay. You can continue to do this video, strengthen the back body, stretch the front body, and eventually the pose will become easier and easier. Let's all come onto our backs. And a very nice preparatory pose is just bridge pose. And for students who don't have wheel pose just yet, then you can always stay in bridge. So let's all come to a bridge by bringing our feet close enough to our hands that we can graze our heels with our fingertips. Place your palms on the ground and lift the hips up into bridge. And in this bridge, try to keep your hips up as high as you can. And also try to bring the chest as close to the chin as you can. And lots of different variations people like to do in this pose, but for now, let's just keep the palms flat on the ground and just focus on this movement of squeezing the back body to lift the hips up. Notice what muscles are engaging here in your back body, like your glutes and your erector spinae. And also notice you might even feel a stretch or restrictions in the front side of the body, perhaps in the hips, perhaps in the heart, that prevent you from coming deeper into this pose. And wherever you are, lower down, one vertebra at a time. Bring the feet to the width of your mat and rock the knees side to side. All right, time to try our wheel pose. Bring the feet in, lift up to a bridge. Option to stay here or to come into your wheel. Plant the hands next to your ears. You can stop on your top of the head if you want, or press all the way into it. So some folks will inhale onto the top of their head and then exhale and press up. So as you press up, try to hold the pose for as long as you can. And notice where you feel restricted. Do you feel restricted in your thighs, in your front body? Do you feel tension in the low back? Is it your shoulders? Are you not able to straighten your arms all the way? Some people feel it in their wrists. We stretch so much of the body in this pose. It's a really wonderful pose to identify where you are stuck and where you are tight. And to come out of the pose, bring the chin to the chest, lower onto your upper shoulders, and roll down one vertebra at a time. Heel toe the feet to the width of your mat, and this time just take one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And just breathe. And from here, hug your knees into your chest. And rock forward and back up to a seat. And then spend just a few moments just sitting with yourself. And see if that process of opening up the heart makes you feel any better. Do you feel a little happier, a little bit more joyous, a little bit more in touch with the love and the light that is inside of you? And the love and light that is inside of me honors and recognizes the love and light that is inside of you. Namaste. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's video. If there's other poses you want to go through a 30-minute sequence to get to, feel free to let me know. You can learn more about me at my website, zachbeach.com. Thanks so much. Take care.